I think absolutely the key determinant is a willingness of its government to shoot its own citizens. That's why the critical moment in Egypt was precisely the army deciding, no, we will not do this. And a lot of the diplomacy behind the scenes, which I think the United States can be proud of, was we had very close ties with many members of the Egyptian army, our own military, their military, and there was a tremendous amount of back and forth in terms of what a professional military does. And a professional military does not fire on its own citizens. A professional military is there for the defense of its country and not for the purpose of any particular regime. So that was a key turning point. Obviously, Gaddafi has had a very different view. One of the reasons I have made the argument that we had to intervene in Libya was that once it hit that scale, if we didn't do anything, we were sending the message that not only violence worked, and you could do violence at any order of magnitude, which really I don't think other regimes are following suit to that extent, and there's some critical, that's a critical turning point. But let me just say, the only other thing I would say here is that I think it gets harder to do mass violence with this technology. I mean, even the most repressive governments in history, though some of the monsters of history, they don't do it out in the open. They hide it. I mean, remember, I'm of the generation that remembers Solzhenitsyn and the Gulag. You know, people didn't know what was happening. Russians did not know. If you had been able to show that as it was happening, if you had been able to show, you know, the mass killings that we've had in history, it gets harder for governments to maintain the stories they tell about themselves. I mean, look, Gaddafi's up there standing there saying everybody's happy here. He's not openly saying, I'm shooting my citizens. So there, no matter what, there is the gap between word and deed that if you can use technology to show is there, at some point that weakens the grip on power, even for people who are willing to use force.